Warning, if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
Okay, here we are. This is the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci. I'm here with Veronica Brill. We probably won't be doing a funny opening because it has been one of those days. This is going to be a follow-up to the 3-hour podcast that we made in regards to the Garrett and Robbi hand. Valerie here asked me if she thought it would be something I would do to answer some of the questions. We have a pretty big response to the show we put out on, today, Sunday, right? We put that out today.
Yeah, we recorded it yesterday.
And so we're answering the questions now today. We got over 400 questions already, and we just put the video out. And thousands of views. So it's definitely a topic that people are interested in. It's biggest poker news out there right now, or maybe of all time, I don't know. But I did agree to come on here and do that. The one thing I want to say real quick, too, is on that show that I put out, Veronica here, one of her first questions to me was about Joey Ingram, and that was not planned. It was not planned to be the first thing we talked about. I know Joey mentioned it was the first thing we talked about for like 10 or 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. And I know Joey has been working around the clock. He's, like I am, exhausted. He might even be more exhausted than me because he has been committed to this situation, and I understand he is not totally happy with me about my take on the Beans interview, where he was, not allowed to be asked questions, and then I maybe made reference to the situation where I had asked him to come out and check everything out, and we kind of had a little thing on his show, and I was just being honest about those thoughts. So I just want to go out and say, look, I said what I said. But Joey's a friend of mine. We're not the closest of friends, but we are friends, and that friendship was going in a good, positive direction. So, Joey, I know you're not thrilled with that. I just wanted to say to you that the last thing I wanted to do is upset you, hurt your feelings, or put you on your heels, because that's really not my intention. Like I said in the show, one of the main things that I wanted to say is that I have no beef. I have no beef with you, and hopefully when we both have our wits about us and we get some rest, we can have another talk and make sure we're good. So keep doing what you're doing. I understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. I don't want to get in the way of that, and I just wanted to say that. So I don't think I said anything that wasn't accurate. And I did say what I said, and I stand behind it. But if it hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. Or if it upset you, I am sorry. So let's go.
So we didn't know if we were going to do this podcast.
Right.
And I said, let's address some of the questions. By the way, I love Joey. And I'm allowed to feel the way I feel about going on his show. And I love him regardless of like any potential criticism I may have had.
Yeah.
So I think Joey's going to be fine. And so are we. So Nathan Joyce left a comment saying having employees who are around hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars and to not have done background checks on those employees seems a bit neglectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but how does a former law enforcement worker not think about that when bringing on individuals as employees around amounts of money these employees will likely never see in their lives?
That's a great point. And I think I addressed partially something to do with this on our last show that we put out today. I think I made the comment that I messed up. I probably should have done that. This all happened fast. We brought some people in when we first started, and we just started. And, Ryan brought Brian to me, and he said he's an intern. He's going to hire him. I'm doing a million things. I'm like, sure, great. He plugged him in. I don't ever back away from a situation if I think I handled something improperly, and I did. And considering that I had businesses that I had so many employees and I didn't do background checks on the hundreds of employees I had over the years, I probably should have been more thoughtful about what exactly was going to be at stake here. And I will say there could be somebody that comes into your business into the mix that doesn't have anything in their background, and that's also capable of doing something like this because of what's at stake. And so, but that doesn't mean somebody that doesn't have a history isn't more capable. I mean, there could be patterns. So I don't have an excuse for it. I don't.
By the way, Double M brought you, is it brandy?
Scotch. Single malt Scotch.
Double M, I'm sorry, it's Scotch. You can tell my sophistication with this. I'm just mostly, if I do drink, it's going to be wine and tequila, but this is quite nice.
It's very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very
Thank
smooth.
you, Double M.
Cheers.
Smooth. Na zdrowie. Yeah, great vodka. No, I actually can't do vodka. Producer's like, well, you're Polish. Why not vodka? I can't. Vodka just brings up my blood pressure because I'm old lady. I can't handle vodka.
I get it. All right.
So we have over 400 comments, and I want to try to get to the unique ones.
We already have 8,000. How many views did you say? And it's been out for a few hours.
Now you want me to get out of the comments?
I don't know.
9.7 thousand views.
People are interested, huh?
And I want to not just read the negative ones for you.
Sure.
I don't want to just drill you, but Valence Poker says, thanks for the show and your honesty, your updates, and entertaining my evenings for the past year during the dark times of the evening for me. So appreciate the positive feedback.
Thank you.
I appreciate people understanding both of our perspectives, and I'm not here to Barbara Walters you.
Yeah.
I'm your friend.
I know.
And I can't say that I'm not biased, because I am, because I've gotten to know you and I'm your friend. I don't want to sit here and drill you. I do a podcast with you. That's my face.
Yeah, that is your face. It's your hair, your face. But well, it's okay because you're asking questions, and I committed to you and everyone else that I would answer them if they don't interfere with the investigation.
But I have my own beliefs on the whole thing.
Yeah, and I told you to share them.
Yeah, and I've been sharing them. So GK Private says, the fact that Vertucci plays in his own game as well as do some of his co-workers and co-owners by itself, literally criminal no credibility, I think he meant to say. We talked about this with Double M.
Yeah.
And we talked about people running private games, playing in their own private games. All my friends who run private games play in their own private games.
Yeah.
And I also know many casinos where people who play as poker or work as poker dealers are playing in the casino in the poker games when they're off shift. Do you want to address that?
Sure. It'll be a little bit redundant, but I do want to address it, and I'm just going to be as candid as I can about it, whether people like it or not. First thing is, yes, people do play in their own home games, and there are always risk of everything, even in your own home game or stream. Things can happen, probably sometimes even more so in home games, but the promoters that start games play in them. That's the whole purpose of it. I understand why people feel that way, but I was very clear when I first started this show with Ryan that one of the goals is to create the greatest, cash game streaming show ever, but one of the other goals for me was to create an environment to play. And it's funny because if I was still the player I was back when I was playing at the bike, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation because I was probably not winning, and now I'm winning, which is the problem. If I was playing right now for the last year of my own show and losing, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, and that makes sense. The only thing I can say is, like I said on the Double M show, is for the last year and a half, I've taken the game a lot more serious. I've shut my businesses down, and I went into the lab, and I literally, besides now with this controversy, I study every day. I have sessions every day. It's like my passion. I love it. I love poker. I don't want to start a poker show not to play. I want to play. I look forward to playing. Kind of retired, so it's like something I do for enjoyment and socialization and socializing with all my buddies and stuff. So I put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this production and to start this show, and a lot of time and sweat equity, and I just feel like I can play in my own show, and I do plan on continuing to play. I don't plan on letting. Look, I am winning on the show because I put the time in to play, and I take it very serious, and I find it very fun to try hard. And I'm not a drinker. I don't go there just to drink and dust off, 10, 20K. I go there to compete. I enjoy it. I love the players. If they win, great. If I win, great. And I don't think I would continue on and not play my show. And so I guess if that is going to be a conflict for someone, then I guess they're going to have to deal with it. And the quality of my life would go down significantly. Has nothing to do with the monetary part of it. I told you I played for Tuesday of last week, and I actually was afraid to win. Thank God I lost like a small amount, like 3,200 or something, but it was on my mind. So I know it's something that I have to deal with, but you know, when this blows over, hopefully everything will be fine. I'm still going to probably have to deal with that pushback and so much other pushback. I mean, I've had pushback even before this happened, just on so many things, and that's just the way the troll world is and the poker world is. But I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to live somebody else's life, and I'm going to make decisions based on what is good for the show, what is good for me, what is good for my family, what is good for my friends and family like yourself. And I'm just going to do what I think is right. And if I do everything ethically and I have nothing to hide, I'm not going to change anything.
Just to let you know, once this starts kicking in, I might start choosing the spicier questions.
We've had this experience before on our podcast where you drank and we had to get rid of the show.
I had like literally one shot. Come on. I'm a lightweight. Yeah. Prezel said, I thought Nitucci was very open and honest. Appreciate you doing this, man. Any rational person hears your honesty.
I appreciate that.
Double M. I don't know if this is the Double M. Great podcast, guys. Obviously understand why Nick couldn't go too deep into his own opinions, but it's good that you aren't shying away from it either.
Right. I will not shy away from questions that I can answer. I will not shy away from the truth. I might shy away from a fact in the middle of an investigation to not hurt it, but that will be it.
A lot of people really like you. Denzel Morris said some really nice things. I don't want to I don't want to get to your head and make your head not be able to leave the room because your ego
I don't think
explodes.
You could do that right now because I'm pretty low. So I don't think my head's going to be big for a while. But whoever that is, whatever you said, thank you.
So Jack said, as far as keeping the stream going after the incident, you handled that perfectly. I became a massive fan of HCL when during the whatever incident, I don't want to, that's not the term, not a politically correct term to call people, been tilting at Bunny, blah, blah, blah. You kept the stream going and the camera mics on, just said, fuck it, this is the show. In my opinion, this is the biggest thing to happen in poker since the moneymaker stuff. And when everyone realizes Robbi didn't cheat, you will be recognized for fostering this moment. Don't feel bad about anything to do with this. That's so conspiracy theorist.
No. It's funny because that's how he feels. And at the same time, there's a lot of people that are right now online saying we should have shut the show down. And you know my feelings on that and why we didn't. But that's the crazy thing about the world. It's so many people feel one way and the next feel another about a subject, and it's so crazy how there could be such a 180 between views, but that's what makes the world go round, I guess.
This is kind of pertaining to, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is kind of pertaining to what you just said, and you don't have to give us a half an hour answer. Sorry. So David Opie says, question, going forward, will Nick continue to play on the live stream? While I personally believe Nick is extremely honest, if he plays, how can he prove that he's not getting any inside information since he has such a high level of access to production?
Well, I guess it's the same way. How can you prove that you don't pick another person to go do that so it's not you, and you do the same thing through somebody else, just like people imply this could be happening now, which is maybe a little ridiculous since, I think if somebody's involved in this and there is cheating, how stupid were you to do it here on this show at this time, in that hand, against that person, with that hand, in that spot. So that's what's crazy to me. If there's guilt here, then it's really stupid people that did it. But how can you prove anything? How can you prove that the other person that plays and another person isn't being used to do that? How can you prove this person? It can go on and on and on. I mean, all I could just tell you is, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna, even in this investigation, I offered third parties. If third party wants to give me a polygraph, give it to me. If third party wants to bring an investigator and question me, do it. I have nothing to hide. And so because I have nothing to hide and because I've put my heart and soul into something, I'm going to lean into it and keep doing the show, and I'm going to keep playing if I feel like doing it. And that's just the way it's going to be. I don't know how to answer that question, how to make anyone feel warm and fuzzy.
Can I insert a joke or no?
Yeah, joke it.
Can we hire a third party to do a full rectal cavity search of you?
No, I want you to do it.
Oh my God. No.
Well, then shut up.
Charlie says, I'm looking forward to future Nick rants, as this must really test some of what you've started talking about there. Great work, Veronica. Regardless of the... Avsin Sandyman says, regardless of the uncertainty of the outcome of the investigation, it is reassuring to know that stricter protocols to ensure game integrity will be implemented going forward. As poker players, we should be better equipped than most to cope with uncertainty. Game integrity is of the utmost importance.
Couldn't agree with that person more. Thank you for that. And I will say that I agree. I will also be candid and say I wish I did a few things that weren't already implemented, and I wish I had. I did feel like we were at the top of our game as far as things we had in place, and no phones, no this, no that, and everything else, and how we did things upstairs and everything. But when you go into something like this, you start to really realize your weak spots. And now I'm kind of disappointed in myself because there's some things that I wish were in place. Will they be in place going forward? Man, absolutely. I hope it's still fun to play. There'll be so many things in place, but I think it will be, and we will be better and stronger for this. That's just all I could say. I mean, I agree with the premise.
Daniel Moore says, new to the show, Nick, love your stream.
Yeah.
Let me see if he says... Dan's from England.
I just want to say this too, for those of you, listen, for even those of you that are out there now that feel how you feel, even if it's in a negative way towards me, towards the show, like you have every right to have those feelings and opinions. Can't take them away from you. That's what makes this world go round, is everyone's different. Hopefully that through this you will see, if you don't, you don't, that you will see our commitment to having the best show and the safest show, and to pursue a truth, whatever that be. And also for those of you who are supporting us, just in the theory of appreciating our show and appreciating the fact that we are being as transparent, I want to thank you for your support, because let me tell you, every time I get a positive message or somebody that says something like that, it does help me, because I will tell you, my battery and my tank are hitting low and being drained like pretty quick on the regular, because when you're being filled with a ton of pressure and a ton of negative and a ton of accusation, it really does wear on someone. I mean, is whether it doesn't matter how strong or weak you are, like there's a certain amount of bandwidth that I think each person can have, and mine's being challenged right now. So I guess my whole point is to say, even for those of you who don't support me, like, thank you for being interested, and hopefully that you can turn that around when you see the results of this, whatever they are, or that our effort. But those of you who are supporting us, thank you, because it means a lot.
James Tan said, California law does not allow lie detector tests to be admitted in court. But you've told me in the past that you think sorry, I don't want to put words in your mouth when I'm asking you questions. Like, what do you think about lie detectors? I'm trying to be like
totally, I get
straight.
It. No, I totally get it. Well, here's what I think. I understand. This is redundant, but I do understand that they're not admissible. Like, I know that. I know they're not. And I'm not saying that a lie detector, a polygraph test, is like the say-all in somebody's innocence or guilt. Of course not. There's a million different layers of an investigation onion. Like, there's a lot of layers that need to be peeled and added and et cetera. This is just one thing. And all these are going to be offered through our legal department. So if it's an employee, it's going to be done properly. It's going to be done, of course, with paperwork and their consent. It's going to be... they're going to have to agree to it. No one's going to be forced to do anything. The same thing with the outside people that are going to be offered to take it. Like I said, myself, if somebody independently wants to hire someone to do that, then do that, so you don't think it's a conflict. But the parts that, like, I would just say about them is, like, if you offer somebody a polygraph test and they don't want to take it, that's just one small marker. It doesn't mean they're guilty. But it is interesting to note. And sometimes during polygraphs, they do work in the sense that they do show reactions when there's an untruth for someone that's not prepared to take one or understands how to take one or trained. So that's another marker. It doesn't mean you can say just because whatever, the person's guilty. So there's these markers along. And then sometimes during these tests, information comes out. People break or they say something that's you didn't know. They have their purpose, but they are not a say-all. They are not what we are hanging our hat on as far as innocent or guilt. That's it.
So Arthur Parent says, Nick Vertucci says the cameramen are told to follow the players after a bad beat to see their emotions. When Garrett and Robbi are outside the stream, the cameras don't go to them. When Rip goes out there, they don't follow him. Nick should explain this, why they didn't follow these players during the confrontation. I like Nick. I think he is a straight shooter and watch his shows.
Okay. Gosh, the best way I can answer that is, first of all, I don't know who made or didn't make a decision to follow the players. So how I would answer that is, I think it's three things. First thing is, I don't know why any decision was made not to go to a camera shot outside on somebody, because I wasn't there. It took me at least an hour and a half or 2 hours to get there after the incident, something like that. Maybe it could have been a little less, a little more. So I don't know who made that decision. Secondly, where Robbi and Ryan and Garrett talked was not in camera shot. It was all the way down the casino and around like a corner where the camera could have never followed them that far, nor running a poker game would we have spent that much time putting a camera like way down at the end of the casino, which you couldn't have saw it anyway. So there wasn't even the potential of that. Now, if they mean like a quick shot of somebody walking out of the room yelling, whatever, I don't know. I think that the fair thing is that this was a different situation. Maybe production decided to focus just on poker because this wasn't just funny watching, Jeremy walk out, to the bathroom because he's on Super Monkey Tilt. We, did that to him a couple times. So I don't know. I've never discussed that with anyone. I wasn't there. I wasn't up in production when it happened. I don't know why the decision was made. And the main conversations didn't happen on camera shot. So I think it's the points. Although I understand the point and I appreciate the question, I don't think it was something that's even possible.
This is an interesting question, and this is like something that's been floating around the internet, the
Sure.
interweb,
Yeah.
AOL.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people will be happy if you answer this. GK Private says, almost nobody mentions that the two cards were switched out just prior to the hand in question. Look at the video. Dealer puts some cards to her left. Ivy string at her as she does it twice. As far as deck control or deck changes, the regulated casinos, when they change cards at the table, not poker, bring out decks in sealed packages, multiple signatures, such as the Pai Gow table. This person doesn't have grammatical...
You're reading through it pretty
Basically, they want to know if like Hustler has controls. Like, what if a card gets switched out? How do you guys calibrate the cards being switched out?
Yeah, I understand the question. This is totally different than his experience. This is a live stream that has cards with RFIDs in them. There's anywhere from 1 to 3 decks, I think, that are registered before the game. I know production or Ryan or someone comes down with the decks that register them that day to play. Like there's new registrations done each time. And sometimes because RFIDs, whether it's the reader or usually the cards that sometimes go bad or they have a tough time reading, if we see like the 3 of clubs is struggling to be picked up on the reader, then production will come down with another 3 of clubs to replace that card. Sometimes we do it right in the middle of a hand because it's just not reading right, and we bring another registered card that's registered for that particular day down to replace it so the cards can all be read properly. It's just the nature of the game when you have a stream game and you have an RFID system and a card stops reading, we bring a new card. We don't allow, like, it's not like in the superstitious world of poker where someone goes, I want a deck change, and you bring down, and by the way, they don't always bring down new decks in wrappers. They bring down new fresh decks that are in order that have been, like, this isn't even relevant, but not every time is in a other casino in a non-stream game is a deck brought and unwrapped. They can just be decks that are in the back that, that aren't wrapped, and they superstitiously people ask for deck changes because they're running bad. We don't do deck changes because these are a couple $100 a deck. They're registered before the show. There might be one or two decks registered.
When you say registered, I think, like, I don't mean to talk for you, but calibrated. You have to calibrate the RFID cards.
Calibrated. They're put down and calibrated.
It's not like a fucking deck that you just bring to the pie gow
we're just
table.
going to unwrap a deck and play. These are like cards that are calibrated, registered before a game that have to be read from a reader. And so we don't just go like player 9 in seat 9 says, oh, I need a deck change, I'm running bad, and we bring down a new deck. That does not happen.
So Mark the Shark asks, anyone know what shades Nick is wearing?
People ask me that a lot. That's crazy. Dita. D-I-T-T-A maybe? Dita? Or D-I-D?
I know people are going to think that I'm simping for him, but like those are literally prescription bifocals for a 90-year-old man.
You're just trying to troll the old guy, but...
They're so thick and he's so blind.
D-I-T-A, Dita. And they are very nice sunglasses. What I did...
From 1970.
My asshole. These things are up to date. And what I did was I took these really cool shades and I made them prescriptions so I could see. And the reason I wear them, because everyone likes to troll me, is that when I play on the stream, it's extremely bright. And right now, if you were to turn a camera on this, we have two big, massive cameras, and they're really bright, and I'm very sensitive, so I wear them.
Atonement says, or asks, I heard there was someone who resigned following the investigation. Is that legit? Not their reason why they resigned, just if it happened.
No.
I'm not going to... I don't want to ask you questions about what DGAF did in what spot, because I think it would be good for him to answer those questions.
I have no idea what those answers are in spots. So.
They want timestamping. Literally, the video is 3 hours long. I was waiting for it last night. I went to bed early because I took some of your Vertucci chocolate.
How'd they do?
By the way, I'm all out, so next time I come, I need some more Vertucci chocolate.
Dude, like...
And then I did an AMA on Twitter, and then I fell asleep during the AMA because...
What's an AMA?
Ask me anything.
Oh.
Didn't you see my tweet? I just took a Vertucci chocolate.
Oh, I did see it.
Sleepy Time chocolate.
And then you fell asleep on your AMA?
I answered like half the questions, and then I fell asleep, and then I woke up and there were like 70.
They work.
I can't fall asleep without my... Well, when I'm here, it's Vertucci chocolates because I won't fly with my edibles.
Do they work as good or equivalent?
They're honestly, mine are way better.
No shit.
I would bring you some, but I'm paranoid about flying with them because federally it's still not legal. But it's saved my life. I hate saying that. It's so true. I was sleeping 2 hours a night.
Can you send me what they are so I could try one?
Yeah, I'll send you a screenshot of them. Cool. So next time I drive, I'll buy a whole pile of my stuff and I'll bring you some, and you can just take whatever you want. But like
they're not more harsh where I get high. I don't want to be high. I just want to be tired.
So yours are missing like a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'm getting a little high. Maybe I go to Mars. Though? Mine take me to Mars.
But do they give you that feeling of like, because I don't like being high, I like being tired.
Yeah, I get a little high.
Nah, I don't want to. I mean, bring them anyways.
It's very mild. It's a very mild high. Like you and I could have a fun conversation.
It needs to be mild because I'm not a drug guy, and anytime I've ever went off that reservation of trying something, it's never positive for me. I don't like feeling paranoid. I don't like feeling like where I can't control, or where
going to a
like
funny
I hear
place.
like a humming sound and my mouth is so dry that I can't swallow.
Do you want to hear? So last night, this is actually funny.
Okay.
So you gave me your Vertucci chocolates.
Yeah.
Which are a thing. Which are like hashtag Vertucci chocolates.
I should make my own brand and sell them now that they're popular.
So I looked at like your dosage, and they're double my dosage.
They are.
Yeah, they are. So last night I was like, fuck it, YOLO. I took the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started feeling it. And then I did the tweet, AMA.
So,
and then I was like, no, let me finish. Remember your story about you called your niece and you were like, I'm going to die, call 911?
Yeah, oh, it was real.
Last night I was like, what if I get to a place where I have to call Nick and say, look, I don't want to call an ambulance, but I'm going to die.
If you ever
you have to
called
talk
me
me off the ledge.
and you are paralyzed in bed, like you're paralyzed and you can't move, I would draw a big cock on your forehead and take pictures and put it right on Twitter. Like don't ever call me. I'm the worst call you could ever make. I'm just telling you.
Who else could get in here though?
Well, that's
You're
why
the
it'll be
only
me.
person I could call.
Please put yourself in that position.
I was like, oh fuck, I might be edging the danger zone.
Oh, I wish.
I was close to edging the.
I would speed here for you, but not to help you.
So I went to the beach like during the last long weekend with a friend of mine, and we took edibles, and I thought, like, I normally take half, and I just usually just do like very light amount. It's legal in California, people. But I was like, fuck it, YOLO. I'm at the beach. It's gonna be a beautiful day. I got so like, I'm like, I think I need to go to the hospital, and my friend's like, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm gonna die.
It's no good.
It's too much when it's like that.
Well, what did you, not exactly, but you just took way more than you should have?
It was, so
Harsher, condensing?
edibles are like inconsistent, right? Sometimes you take half, you feel nothing. You take a whole and it's like 10 times worse.
Shit.
Or you take a whole one, you feel nothing.
Mine are
you take
really
half
consistent.
and it's, yeah.
Mine are really, that's why I like them, because I never put myself in the, I will say the very first time I took one, I wasn't prepared to get up in the middle of the night to take a leak. And I remember I told you, and I walked straight into the wall, and I went, holy shit. And then I walked straight into the wall, and then I went, okay, I
walk into the wall every night.
And then I'm in a jam, right? But so my question to you is, why, if mine are higher doses, were you higher on yours?
Oh, because you don't have the full like gamut of
shit in there. I don't want that.
Yeah, CBD, THC, all of that.
I don't want to.
I have a gamut.
Dude, I'm looking to sleep. I'm not looking to like go low.
I have the hippie prescription for sleep. And if I don't use it, I can't sleep and my life is miserable. It saved my life. I think I told you.
I told you this too. These chocolates saved my life. I can't sleep for shit without them.
Okay, you ready for a real one?
What's a real one?
No, I mean, I'm just saying.
Were these all fake?
No. Like a real G. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the shit's kicking in.
Yeah, no more for you.
So Don Jones says, also you played on the bike for years and lost all the time.
Yeah.
Now at Hustler, you're like second or third biggest winner. Okay. Or was it the coaching from Garrett that has improved your game so much? I mean, you can only get your ass handed to you by Garrett.
Let me just tell you this. Garrett wouldn't give you a hint to help you if your life depended on it. Although he's a great guy, he just is a poker killer. So, okay. So I've answered this a million times, but I feel compelled to answer this guy because he asked the question. So when I first started playing at the bike, I had not put in any work in poker. I was total wrecking it up. I was playing once a day a week, usually sometimes two. And I just was out there lighting money on fire while I was running businesses. And, you know, I was having fun. But and to be honest with you, I didn't know how bad I was. And nobody ever really does. People even now still think they run bad, and they've lost for 10 years consecutive. They think they're running bad. The difference is very, very easy. Is like I said, when I got to the point to where I wanted during COVID, and I shut down a very big business, and I decided I didn't want to do those type of things anymore, and that I was going to start a show. I said to myself, let's get serious about this. You're going to I wanted to play at a high level. I am competitive. I want to learn. So I have worked with someone that I believe is like a top pro that has been in the trenches. And I probably and this is still embarrassing because as much work as I put into it, I still suck. And so I should even be better, I think, but I'm not. And I work hard at it. I study, I work, all my mistakes I try to plug. I come in and, I work at this part of my game, that part, the mental part, the variance part, the fundamentals, the math. And, that's why. It's very simple. It's like anything else. If you practice something and you study, you get better. And this is what I do. I don't want to say for a living because I'm okay financially, but this is what I do. I play poker now. So am I a poker rec that has a show, or am I poker pro that has a show? I don't even know, because that pro thing is so dumb. Like, what makes a pro? I know pros that play for a living that don't win.
You're a poker nit who has a show. Yeah,
I'm a poker nit who has a show. But I put a lot of work in, and I try really hard.
Monkey Magic says, now an hour in, this is so staged. Veronica, what are you doing to yourself? LOL.
Wow.
I mean, like, look.
Crazy, man.
I'm not Barbara Walters. Nick is Barbara. I'm Babs. My middle name is actually Barbara.
Nice.
So maybe I should Walters you.
Veronica Barbara Brill.
Veronica Barbara.
I mean, what did I call you? Veronica.
Veronica.
Barbara. Okay.
Barbara.
Nice.
Yeah. Look, it's not staged. I mean, you can take it for what it is. I honestly don't care. And I've talked to you about this. Like, I think this is all a part of the process of trying to uncover the truth, and everybody jumps to every conclusion. And like, I'm on this podcast. To say that I don't have a bias in any way is a lie. Like, you're my friend. I genuinely believe you. Am I like 100% convinced either way? No, I'm not. And like, I don't know what you want from me. That's what I have. This is my style of doing shit. Well, if you don't like my style, then
they might not believe you because they're going to think it's staged. But did you or I write down even one question of what you were going to ask me on that 3-hour stream? The answer is no. No, you said to me, can I ask you anything? And I said to you, yes, but if it interferes with the investigation, I'm going to let you know and not answer it, but I'm going to answer everything else I can.
Well, I said, I don't care how you answer it. You have to allow me to ask you anything I want, and you cannot expect me to not say what I believe to be true.
And I said, you say whatever you want, you believe what you believe, and I'm not going to suppress that, and you can ask me whatever you want.
Rachel Waystone said, I'm confused as to why this part of the night was being scrutinized so early. Brian stole the chips after the stream was done. I'm not sure what kind of question. I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know what that means.
So AG, why didn't Veronica ask where Brian was during the hand? Why didn't she ask the elephant? I'm assuming you're the elephant.
In the room? No, the elephant in the room.
He's talking about how fat you are. No, I know he meant the elephant in the room. That was in the room.
What's wrong with you?
Why he owns the show and plays in the game. So first of all, like, what? So we all friggin' know Brian was working that night.
Yeah.
Because he came down and stole the chips.
He was up in production.
Sorry. Took the chips. I don't know if he stole them.
He stole
taken
them,
and stolen.
But right, we don't know yet if it was. People have opinions of why he took them, but as of right now, they are stolen until something is proven otherwise.
Jay Andrews hates our intro. The intro from hell. Get on with it.
Suck me. Next question.
Your mother.
Your mother's ass.
It's Cluckalistic said it's obvious that Nick and Ryan weren't directly involved in any players' cheatings. They definitely made a lot of mistakes in regards to running the live stream. Mistakes are common with starting a new business. It's going to come out that a lot of these poker players on stream are mad shady. Something definitely stinks here. If that Brian guy was shady enough to steal chips, he would definitely help players cheat in the game. I would say shady stuff on stream has been going on for 1 to 2 months in some capacity. What do you think about that?
It's his opinion.
Andy got stacked. I don't think this is Andy Stacks. It's not. Eric Pearson keeps saying she is innocent, an innocent victim, and wanting to do his own polygraph is worrisome. He says passing the test will mean everyone needs to shut the fuck up. He was a part of that game that was protecting Robbi during the infamous hand. He is surely not an unbiased third party. I brought this up. I said that we should have a third party do lie detector, not Eric's company.
I mean, let's put it this way. Even if Eric still wants to do that with her, he can do it. I can't control what Eric does or what she does. I'm going to offer her to take one. That's it. And
do you know if she's accepted yet?
His or mine?
If Robbi has accepted a lie detector test,
Well,
yours,
she has said publicly she'll take it, but
you
not to
haven't
me.
had contact with her since
Not
then?
yet, because the part of the process is I have to go in a First of all, I think right now she's on vacation. One of her tweets say she's taking some days off to get some rest or something. But this stuff takes time. I mean, you have to. I'm gathering the information to offer everyone to take this. That's what people think. I know they may think that the time's dragging, but if they understood how long it takes to hire companies, get the teams in place, get contract signs, get agreement signs, set things up, make sure legal's in order. Like this, I'm doing this at lightning speed, and people, maybe some of them believe that like this should already be wrapped up, and that's just not like plausible.
Nathan Chulos. I'm sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong. Choules. Nick and Doug had that moment. Did we just become best friends? I feel like Doug is a good guy in general, although I'm not a big fan of his clickbait type videos, and Nick is a solid dude. I feel he shoots straight, and I like that in a person.
Okay.
See, I didn't want to just give you shit comments.
Okay, is that a question or is it just a comment?
Just a comment.
Okay. And thank you for that.
They tell me I'm in La La Land. Okay. HMPH said, aren't the chips property of the casino? How can they not press charges for stealing on premises?
They're actually the property of the player who bought them. Casino would love nothing more for somebody to take 3 chocolate chips and go home and never come back with them. You know why, right?
No.
Okay, so think it out. So let's say somebody takes 3 chocolate chips and they buy them with $15,000, and they take those chips and they go home, or they throw them off a pier into the water. Guess what the casino gets? $15K profit. Mm-hmm. So when somebody buys those chips, they are the property of that person because they paid for them. So the victim in this was who owns the chips, which was Robbi Lou. Because originally, the casino was like, you have to prosecute. This is, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, no, done. Like, if somebody stole chips, I don't care who they work for, me especially. Like, okay, like, I'll just tell you, like, it's not personal with me that I want to just prosecute. If somebody will commit a felony and take somebody else's chips and they work for me and I am the victim, you will be prosecuted. I will not let you off the hook because you are fucking with my future. You're fucking with my business. You're fucking with my reputation, because my reputation is in question because of this shit. So for me, I will prosecute you. So that's just the way it's going to be. But when the police got there, and I'm really kind of like feel stupid I missed it. When the detective got there, or we finally got to the bottom, and he goes, well, like, whose chips are they? And I'm like, well, they're hers. And he goes, well, she's the victim. And I'm like, fuck, she is the victim. Because I was figuring I was the victim because he worked for me, and I know this because of my background, but it happened so fast. I'm like, holy shit. And so I couldn't prosecute. So that's when I picked up the phone and I called Robbi, and she picked up. And I'm like, hey, this is real time happening right now. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, like, you're the victim. And then, you already know her story. The detective told her that it was a miscue and, all this shit. And now we come to find out when she realized he did have a background in this, and she maybe is aware that, there's no proof of this, but there's definitely an investigation on this happening more. And when she realized that, she now changed her mind.
So were you there when the detective was talking to her?
Mm-hmm.
Did he talk about Nick's or Brian's background?
Yeah, what happened was this. This is why this is on me in kind of a sense, but it's kind of on the detective too. I had received backgrounds a couple days before there where I got them sent to me on email that I requested. And I was focused on, it was 11 o'clock at night, and this is just the truth. It was 11 o'clock at night. I looked through them, I perused through them. I didn't look through them thoroughly. What I did was I texted my investigator who I work with, and I said, hey, like, I'm kind of beat. I see a few things in here. I saw things there for Robbi, for other people, for whatever. And I'm like, let's just print these out. You know how I'm a printout guy? I go, because there's like pages and there's like names where if a name's spelled just with a different initial, it could look like a name. And like, so my point is like, I wasn't prepared. I was so exhausted that night from this and I hadn't slept. And I had said, let's get together in the next couple of days and look at these and like really lay them out and do a plan for our investigation. Then this thing came out like right after that where I was informed of this. So when the detective was there, I had said to him, she had asked him, I said, I don't think so, because I didn't catch anything in his thing, would never cover for him. And the detective just said, I don't think there's anything in his background. Like, I think he's whatever. So he went off that information. I don't know if he had run anything or why he said that, or if he just, I just told him, I said, I don't think so. Like, I don't know if there's anything in whatever. And he just said no. And she said, okay, then I don't think I want to prosecute or whatever. So that is the truth. That's how that happened.
You want to know an interesting backstory or a tidbit?
Sure.
Stones ran background checks on everyone. I had to do a background check to do commentary. I had to get a license to do commentary at Stones. And they did background checks on everyone, and they still got a compromised system. So like you said previously, again, they're going to say I'm simping for you.
No.
But you can still do background checks on everyone and have clear background checks, and this kind of stuff could still be potentially compromised.
Absolutely. And sometimes there's things that show up in different states, so it's not a perfect science. I don't back away from accountability at all, but that is just how it went down, and everything happened really fast, and this is where we're at. And now she's prosecuting. I'm glad
she hasn't
glad
prosecuted
she is.
yet. We're waiting.
No, she just made a statement, but I'm glad. I was disappointed. Listen, let me just tell you this: if Brian never did anything related to this poker hand, and all he did was take chips, he did that. He risked my integrity, my business, by being associated with me and working for me. I don't have anything personally against Brian. Could I tell you the truth? That I'll probably get slaughtered for this. I'm a fucking softie. And when I knew, and I looked at his face and I knew he was going to jail, because I thought he was going to jail that day because I was prosecuting. And I told him, you're going to jail. Like, when you leave here, like when you walk out, that's what's happening. I fucking almost started crying, because this is still a person, like, but not to the point to where like I want him off or he's not going to take accountability. I'm just that person. I feel things. I felt horrible, and I still was going to prosecute him. And of course, now that he did that, there was a part of me that was enraged that I wanted to punch his face in because of the position. I was like an emotional like roller coaster of how I felt about it, because you can feel two things. But it's not personal to me in this. It's personal to me, but I want him prosecuted because he did it. And he risked the reputation of the show. He took money from somebody that didn't belong to him. He risked the reputation of, like, he's got nothing coming. And I know he's going to watch this, but that didn't mean that I didn't feel for a person that just fucked up their life.
So in regards to that, Michael Gaspar says, who's paying for Brian's lawyer? No public defender in a civil matter and no charges filed. Retainers are expensive. Do you guys know yet who his lawyer is, he meant to say, or who paid?
Well, first of all it was a public statement about a lawyer from Joey or somebody, or a post that he said he's not coming on, he's going to get a lawyer. Nobody knows if he got a lawyer. I'm not in contact with him. I'm not going to communicate with him. I'm in the middle of an investigation. I'm not going to communicate with him. I don't know if he got one, and I don't know how he could pay for one, or I don't know who's doing anything, and I don't even know if it's true. So who cares, in the sense that, like, we just can't answer that. Like, I'm not saying, I don't know. I don't know if he even has one. Maybe that's just him saying that. Or maybe he's got one. Maybe he's got mom or something. I don't know. I don't know. You got a real juicy one there or something?
I'm trying to find juicy ones.
I will tell you this. This is something that you can know, that you won't ask me because you won't think of it because you don't know it. Robbi texted me and said, where can I pick up the $15K? Because she saw my tweet. I never contacted her personally and said, we're going to pay it to you. I put it out there. I know she would read it. And I said, that's not going to work that way. You're not going to come in and just pick up $15K. I need to get with my attorney. She will contact you, and you will pick it up from either her, and you will sign that I gave it to you, meaning like I want it on the record, and I don't want it just to be a handshake, and she comes in and I hand her 3 chocolate chips, and I don't want to be involved in it. I'm not going to do the handoff. I'm not going to do it. We're going to pay with a company check. And the only reason we're doing that is because it's in good faith. You know, even though Brian worked for me, I don't owe her technically, lawfully, the $15K. But morally and ethically and in good faith, I offered it because I feel responsible for my employee who at the time came down and pulled that fucking shit. So so she will get it through a legal means, and it will be documented.
Live Lucky 777. Mr. Vertucci, tell me why I'm reading this like...
I know grammar. I got it. Who cares?
Tell me why would Airball loan $150K plus to someone like Rip, who later on Airball mentioned he doesn't know him well? How do you justify that action and the relation between Airball and Rip?
How do I justify it? Or how does he justify it?
I'm just reading the questions.
Well, first of all, you'll have to ask Nick Airball, whoever that is, why he would do that and how he justifies it. I have no idea. I could tell you this. I wouldn't loan $150,000 to somebody I just met. And I also know that from what I understand, Nick Airball does loan people money in the game, and he's very loose with that. But you will have to ask him. It is not from us asking him to do it, encouraging him to do it. We have nothing to do with it. I think it's a bad move to loan that amount of money to anybody, if I'm being truthful with you. And then there was like a last part of that question, which I forgot, which was, what was the last line? There was one more. Just read the last line of that question.
Dude, I'm like, I've scrolled
there was another part of it and I forgot. So I'm sorry I didn't answer it.
It's right above the God loves you. He offers you forgiveness for your sins. How do you justify that action and the relationship between Airball and Rip?
I don't justify it.
Look, I'm there. Yeah. If I say to you, hey, I know this has nothing to do with you, but I need to ask it. They're like, you're shipping.
No,
I'm just like trying to verbatim ask the question.
No, I just needed to remember what it was. I don't justify it. I don't know anything about it. I know what Nick put out there. I don't know. He said they just met. He said he loaned him the money. We're going to investigate everything, but I don't have any answer to that. I think that's ridiculous if that's true. But,
Hustler Casino's done. She is shilling the staff that has access to hole cards playing their games. Respect to Garrett for speaking out against these idiots. That's whatever, man. Yeah, you're right. Okay, good job.
Yeah,
good job, detective.
Have it all figured out.
They're mad at timestamps. Look, it came out literally 5 minutes after I woke up, and I was waiting last night to get the timestamps.
Who cares about that?
I know. Those are the first comments.
What are you, Italian? What are you, fangu?
You think Polish don't people...
I don't know. Forget about it.
Vafankula.
Mata fangu.
See, you asked me to scroll back, and then and then Laws of Human Nature says, why does Veronica keep looking at the ground?
Because I'm signaling you. I don't know. It's so stupid.
This is good and such, but can we get Veronica Brill bikini pic? I like to do one pieces.
I don't blame you.
I'm older, Yeah, my belly's a little saggy.
Yeah, when I go to a pool, I wear a one piece. I ain't fucking taking my shirt off.
Dude, you have to wear a muumuu.
Totally.
Okay, so I love these. You're going to love this. Matt Stone says, someone should tell Veronica that being a feminist is the reason she is single and alone in her 40s. Sorry, but guys will put you in the sex-only category. It's sad because she will probably be alone well into her 60s with no kids or grandkids.
Oh my God.
You know what, Matt Stone? You're right.
I was just going to say, if this was an Olympic sport right there would be 3 Asians with 10s up just sitting here right here.
Three Asians?
Because usually at the Olympics it is. I don't know why. They just hold the 10s up. But I think he kind of stuck the landing. But, whatever.
Okay. All right. So we need to find one more and then I'm done with this because I feel like, look, we're trying to get all your comments in. We want you guys to know that we actually give a shit about what you say.
Refresh and see how many comments we have now and how many views.
I can't. I just can't. I'm so deep into the abyss.
Okay.
Oh my God, listening to Veronica is so cringe. She acts as if she's so important, always cutting people of speaking. Always cutting of people speaking.
Well, I mean, you could attack their grammar, but their point is true.
G says, when are you playing on the show next?
You or me?
I don't know. That's all they said.
If I play, it'll be Tuesday, but I don't know. I fell asleep the last Tuesday I played because I was so tired. I was like in a hand and I nodded off.
Rob
I'm
Wells
scared
says
to win
boring.
now, so.
Okay, now we'll go to the newest comment.
Could you imagine if I play Tuesday and I win like 100 ball? What pressure I'm going to be, I'm gonna be under.
Fan of Live Life. Fan of Hustler Casino Live. But this podcast didn't help throwing Joey under the bus. Not a good look. We didn't fucking throw him under the bus. Calm down.
Well, I want to say again.
They like to turn molehills into mountains.
I want to say again, I hope that it's fatigue on Joey's part because I know he's upset with me. I know when he was showing our show and he was commenting, he looked really triggered by mine and your take on a couple things. He does run a show where he's doing and saying a lot of things. So I would have thought he could handle a little bit of pushback, especially when you preface it with how much you like him and that you're not trying to fight with him and you just want, to go on the record to say that, because those things that happened really, Joey and I had to have a talk after a couple things because I wasn't okay. And I don't know how he knew that. I might have sent him a text and I said something like a 1-word or 2-word and he realized I wasn't okay. And then he called me and we talked. And I was honest with him. I said, I wasn't okay with how we interacted on your show about you coming out. I wasn't okay with maybe this. Like, if we could say this, we should be allowed to, like, someone to say that or ask that. And so I was just honest with him. And we were good. And we were like, okay, man, like, there's, some tough conversation. But we, said, hey, at the end of this, let's just make sure we're good, man. Like, let's protect this. And so when I went on the show and that we aired today, I didn't think he'd be that upset. I really didn't, and that's why I made the apology today. Not that I apologized for what I said, meaning like I didn't love the conversation I had with him and how he treated me on a show, and I didn't love that Beans got cut off, and those were like more important questions than some of the other things that were allowed. Like, I still mean that, but I don't think that like Joey purposely tried to block information from Beans. I don't think he purposely, because he was tired, like acted that way for, we talked about it like. And here's the thing, you asked me the question because I didn't know what you were going to ask me. You asked that to me. You made it first question. It's not like I wanted it to lead or anything, but I didn't care. I just, I answered you as honestly as I could, and I tried to be as politically correct and to not offend him. And so it really bothers me that he's upset because I like Joey, and I just don't want to beef with people that I like. And this is such a tough, fucked up situation that I think it's just bringing out the worst in some instances in some people, including myself, when, I responded to the Kessler thing in defense of DGAF. That was just a blunder. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have.
I forgot about that. I want to ask you about your tweet towards
it was a blunder.
Alan Kessler saying you're going to sue him.
Yeah, I guess I didn't say I was going to sue him, but I alluded to the fact that I would fund it if Billy wanted to. Listen, that was a mistake. Let me explain. Just like, I think like, maybe Joey might make something like do or say some things that maybe he would take back because he's tired or whatever, I don't know. Just a tough situation. So the pressure got to me. It was later in the day. I saw, this, and we've had this talk many times. So let me just give a backstory. Alan Kessler goes onto the internet and he scrutinizes everything. That's his right. Free speech. He could do whatever he wants. I don't even care if this is, at this point, I don't even care if I say this is right.
You got to hear the irony in what you're saying, right?
Yeah, what?
You're saying free speech, you believe in free speech, and then you want to sue someone for free speech.
But you got to let me get to that point. Okay. I don't want you to make it, because when you make it, then it's me agreeing with you. I'd like to be able to make it and have people know that it's a blunder versus like, anyways, whatever. So it's, I kind of already had a little bit of some of the things he does antagonizes it just, the way he does it antagonizes me more than a normal person. I was kind of antagonized by him by some of the things earlier, and me and you talked about that. And I don't even care if this is politically correct. Maybe he's on the spectrum, because I don't think he socially can understand, and I should give him a pass for that. And so I wasn't the biggest fan. Then I went on Joey's show, and when I went on, they let Alan stay on. That's not Joey's fault. It's just the way it was. A lot of stuff was happening. And Alan got me at a tired moment, and I kept answering his question. And he would say, yeah, I get that. And then he would ask me the same question, like the same way. And it wasn't in question form. It was in accusatory form, in my opinion, okay? And I was low bandwidth. And I think I kind of snapped on him, and I got a little aggressive. And then I remember calling back in. I texted Joey and I said, let me come back on. And I said, I don't like the way I acted. He got me. He got my goat. I want to exit your show differently. And I want to apologize that I got defensive, because I acted defensive because I was frustrated. And so what a lot of people don't understand out there, because they're out there on their end of it and they don't understand, not that I don't need any empathy or sympathy at all, but I'm under an immense amount of pressure, and I'm under immense amount of pressure from every angle. And I'm getting hit with like my phone and this, and I'm trying to run the investigation, and I'm literally running wire to wire. The second I wake up, I am on. And and these are long days, and some of them, I'm only getting a couple hours of sleep, because this is so important to move fast. And so I'm tired, and I'm frustrated by some of the accusations, whether free speech or not, I get it. And so Alan had every right to put up his post about Billy DGAF. Every right to your point that I wanted to make, that I was getting to, is that it's none of my business, really. Even though it's about someone I care about and about someone that works for me, he has every right to do that. I fucked up because I was really low bandwidth. I was frustrated with some of the things that are going on and some of the approaches. And I have every right to feel that way, because I do think some of the approaches are weird, the way they're done. There's so many situations that can be looked into before you blast it out and ruin someone's reputation. Because believe it or not, someone's reputation, I'm not going to say who, but today after Double M's deal, I had somebody that works for me, I'm not going to say who, contact me today, and the person, I won't say male or female, was bawling their eyes out because of an accusation against them that came out today. Literally bawling their eyes out. And it makes me feel emotional even thinking about it, because I understand the pressure everyone's under. And so for me, it's just really tough. So when I read that, and I read it about someone that I think, it has every right to be, I'm not crying, my eyes are stinging from they're just burning. They have every right to, look, everyone's going to be investigated, Billy included. There's nobody that's off the table. I mean, every angle is going to be looked at. Like everything I do for one employee, I'm going to do to the next, and we're going to go through the processes. But in that particular case, what I said was, Billy, if you hire a legal team for defamation, I'll pay the bill. Shouldn't have done that. That is, to be honest with you, I didn't want to delete it because it was already out there, but I wanted to delete it after I came to my senses, because if I'm being real honest, that makes it worse for Billy, not better. That actually makes it worse because I'm not clear of anything. And for me to say that looks like I'm being defensive for somebody. Well, why would I do that? Well, it could be because I love the guy and I believe in him, which is the truth. But it also could be in someone else's mind that I want to defend him because I don't want them to find out about something because it could lead to something else, maybe me. So I understand how fucking stupid it was, but I did it. And it was a fucking mistake. And Alan has every right to say what he wants. It is free country, it is free speech, and everything should be investigated. So that was just a mistake. But here's the thing, I'm not perfect. And I'm never gonna be perfect. And nobody in this world is perfect. And the one quality that I have is that I will tell you when I'm wrong. And I will admit when I'm wrong. But when I'm right, I'll fucking dig in. But I was wrong there. And that's all I could say. That's just the truth.
It seems as though, based on a lot of the comments, no one gives a fuck what I think. But in this whole process, like, I look at things different than you.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
And I look at everybody's process within this scenario as their own. And I try to appreciate people for their process. So like Joey Ingram has his own process for making content. And I respect his process. I would never get the views that he's getting, even if I tried to repeat it. And I respect what he's doing.
Yeah, me too.
And I can, as a person who's living my own unique life, go on his podcast and feel a certain way and still love him at the end of that interview. And I do adore him. I will never not adore him because of how much he's helped me in the past.
Yeah.
But I can still feel a certain way about going on an interview and being frustrated that I didn't get to ask Beans the questions that I wanted to. In the same way, Alan Kessler, like, I understand, I kind of get the way he is. I like him. I do like him. And like, I take the things that he says in an Alan Kessler way. Like, he's trying to get to the bottom of it. I understand what he's trying to do. And I guess like, I understand where you're coming from, because DGAF, this whole thing is becoming a witch hunt in some ways, and everybody's like piling on everywhere they can, and then it's your friend, and then you're frustrated, and everybody that I know hard vouches for DGAF. I don't really know the guy, but like typically if someone's in poker for 20 fucking years and they're a DGen, everybody will call me and be like, this person's a piece of shit. You know, no one has said that.
No.
He has no history of that. So someone doesn't suddenly become a piece of shit after 20, 25 years in poker. No. So that's one thing. Like, sometimes you have to trust the people within the community, because the fucking community talks about everyone.
I know.
So I get where Alan's coming from. Alan's trying to get to the bottom of it. And Alan is like super objective. He doesn't care who he bothers in the things that he says. And you just have to appreciate that. There's just people in the community that function a different way. Doug functions a different way. Joey functions a different way. I just try to take it all in and appreciate what everyone is doing. And I try to like listen to the smart people in every arena. Like I want to listen to the smartest poker players and hear their thoughts and take those considerations in before I make a decision. Just like, I'm not going to like listen about physics to a non-physicist, to like someone who's selling me herbs and tell me about physics. Like, that's not their their opinion is not weighed as heavy as like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just how I form it. And it's a nothing burger, what I think.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, although I'm the one being asked questions.
You're going to ask me a question?
Yeah, I just have one question. I don't know. I know that Joey's upset with me. That's what we're talking about. I know he's upset with me. I know he is.
I think, yeah. Okay. I think you're very sensitive.
I am, but I know he is, because I called him and I talked to him and I heard his tone today.
But he's also very tired.
I understand.
This has been a long ordeal.
I get that. That's why I said that.
But I'm not talking for him. He might be.
Okay, this is where the people think you cut me off. So, all that's true. So I know that he is trying to figure out, after he gets the rest, how he feels about this or me. I know he was unhappy. I could tell by his demeanor when he was playing our show. That's why I called him. I texted him and I said, hey, I think I left him a voice text and said, hey, are you upset with me? If you are, I'm sorry. Like, I want to talk about it. He didn't call me back. Then I finally decided to call him back again. He picked up, and I could just tell by his tone he's exhausted. And he was like, couldn't even answer me if he was mad at me or not. He's like, I don't know. I just gotta I don't know. But my question to you is, because you obviously know that I'm sensitive about that and I care what Joey thinks and I don't want to not be good with him. And not because of this investigation. He's going to do, like, I know Joey will do whatever he wants to do regardless of how close we are. So I don't think it's like plus EV for me to be good with Joey. Joey's going to do his thing regardless fairly. I get that. I only care because I don't want to, I like him. And so that bothers me because I care about people. So, but my question to you is, you are just as adamant about the point about that interview, and you weren't happy about it, and you verbalized that on our show. So we don't know, right? And I know you feel differently, like you don't really care because you'll figure it out. But if he's
no, I care about what Joey thinks about me.
If he's upset with you as much as he is with me, or if he is, how do you feel about that?
So look, I care if Joey, I genuinely like Joey as a person. I would care if he was mad at me in this moment. But I look at things like, if he's mad at me for my response to me feeling a certain way. First of all, he has to be open to criticism.
Right.
He's running a 12-hour live stream. If I come on his live stream and I'm upset about a moment in that live stream, it doesn't mean I hate him. It doesn't mean that I think what he's doing is terrible. And I know Joey's intelligent, and I know that I'm assuming he would know that if he's upset, it would just be about that moment, because he knows me as a person, and I've spent time with him outside of like live streaming and social media.
You may have more experience with him, so you may feel different about it.
And I think really highly of him, and he knows that I do.
Yeah.
I've made that very clear. It's kind of like if Doug Polk made a video and I was upset about the video, and I message him like, hey, this really hurt me because of this, even though his videos are never about me. And I'm just making a point.
It's an example.
I'm sure he would know that I still respect him. I hold him in high regard, but like that moment doesn't define the entire entity of our interactions.
Do you think he'll feel that way about you and me? Do you think it's a temporary...
Joey?
Yeah, a temporary just exhausted.
My honest perspective of this whole thing is Joey has a process, and I respect Joey's process. And whatever that is, like, I think that he's done this long enough to not take everything personal. And he knows that I respect him, and he knows that I love his podcast, and I'm a mod in there. And like, I honestly would be so blown away if he just decided like he fucking hates me because I said I was frustrated in one part of his podcast.
I'm sure he wouldn't. Here's my next question to you then. Knowing that he runs this type of business, like where he's in it, and you just said he just can't be defensive or whatever. Like, what'd you say?
No,
sensitive?
I didn't say he can't be defensive.
What was the word you just said? He shouldn't be what just now? I'm tired. I'm just saying.
I'm tired too.
Yeah, I think you said he shouldn't be upset.
No, he
has to take criticism.
No, he doesn't have to take criticism.
Whatever you
but he will be criticized.
What did you just say? That's whatever it was. I'm trying to repeat that.
He can't expect to not take any criticism.
That's what it was.
I'm a human. Okay. I'm going to feel a certain way.
So you said that. Right. So that's what believe me, I just couldn't remember.
His feelings are valid, but so are mine.
Right. So my question to you is, in this case with what you said and I said, and I was as careful as I was prefacing it, do you think he should be upset? Knowing that this is the position he's put himself into, and there's going to be some pushback. Like, do you think he should be?
Well, it's hard for me to answer that because Joey's perspective is not mine. Because it's hard. Because from my perspective, I see it as an objective, like the way I felt in that moment, and I said what I did, and I know that I meant no malice towards him. Same. And I would assume that he shouldn't be long-term offended if he is.
Yeah, I was just wondering what you thought about it.
That's all.
Yeah, because I meant no malice either. So, okay, I think we've exhausted enough on that, unless you have something else for me.
It is okay to have feelings of like maybe being frustrated or not happy when you're friends with someone or you're close acquaintances or whatever. It is okay to feel that way and then still continue to have a relationship afterwards and resolve that.
I agree.
There can't be a world where I'm like, Joey Ingram is 100% right all the time. Simp. I have to be allowed to have a feeling about me being...
I agree with you, and I hope that is the case with both of us.
But I do simp and love Joey.
Good. What, do you have any more questions?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. So that's this. This is the extended version of our show for the first 3-hour pod we put out. And I would like to get back to more fun next time and more interviews and this
fun.
This sucks. A big fat one.
Yeah, this sucks. A big fat wiener.
Yeah, it's horrible.
When was the last time? No.
What's the last time I sucked a big fat wiener? Long time.
Yeah. You miss it, don't you?
Well, just miss it. So stupid. I'm sure they'll have fun with that. Hey, if that'll distract them from all this, then guys, run with that. Anyways, this is the Nick Vertucci Show with Veronica Brill. I'm actually going to say your name because it's not one of our fun shows. I am Nick Vertucci, and thanks for watching and listening, and be out.